The next game on our list here is Barbarian Battlegrounds.
Designed by Walter Barber and Ian VanNest. Board Game Geek. Nobody drew this, and it's published by Greenbrier Games.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Yeah.
Julie even told us who drew it. Like
Yeah.
well, I don't remember who it was, but I remember the whole conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, this was provided as a review copy from Greenbrier Games, just as a heads up, or whatever you want to call it. Barbarians, or I call it Barbarians, but it's called Barbarian Battlegrounds. And it's essentially a dice game where you're basically beating the crap out of each other to get victory points.
You don't have to.
Well, yeah, you have to.
You do a little bit.
It's like literally the only, not the only path to victory, but it is by far what the game is projecting you to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, the whole point of the game is you need 7 victory points to win. Just to kind of give you a brief overview, there is a card that you put in front of you that has all these different slots you can put your dice on, right? Everybody's going to roll some dice in front of them. You start off with 3, I believe. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can buy more of your dice, and there's also mercenaries, which are temporary dice for the round. More on that in a minute. But you're going to roll your 3 dice in front of your player shield so that everybody can see each other's rolls. At that point, you put them behind your player shield, and then you assign them. You can assign them to your attacking spots, which will allow you to attack the 3 different players. There's basically a slot for each other player, like a slot that has a green flag, a slot with a blue, a slot with a yellow. If you're the red player, it's not going to show yours, but that way you know I'm attacking the blue player. And the player shields are color coordinated. There's also defense slots, and when anybody attacks you, the defense is going to apply to that, and it's going to subtract that value, and if they still have more than you, it's going to hit you. And if you get hit, then you're going to give them victory point or some resources or whatever. Anyway, down at the bottom, there's also resources that you can gain, and those are kind of separated with a I think honey is the first one that you need a 1 to 5 can go there, and then 1 to 3, and then a 4, 5, and 6 is for like the hammer, which I think is like stone or something, and then the middle one is the faith, and you can put any number there, but if you put a 6, you're going to get 2 faith, or you can lock one of your glory points. I call them victory points, but they're glory points. You turn that token face down and nobody can steal it. So it keeps you from, losing victory points. What you're trying to do, basically, after you roll your dice and you apply all these, right, there's going to be an attacking phase where each player in turn order. Oh, about the dice real quick. You can't put more than 1 die on a spot unless you stack the same value. So if you want to get 2 honey, you have to stack like 2 3s or 2 4s or whatever. Anyway, once everybody's rolled and applied their things, then you reveal your shields. In player order, or first player order, you're going to do all the attacks against each other, and it's simply, I'm hitting you. If you don't have any defense, then I'm just going to go through and hit you. If you have a defense and I get above it, I still hit you. If you're attacking me and I'm attacking you, whoever has the higher value subtracts the attack of the other person. So if I'm attacking Eric with a 5 and Eric had a 3, I'd have 2 points left over. Then it applies to their defense. If it still goes through, then you get a victory point, or you can steal 2 of the resources. After all that, then there's a phase where you gather the resources from the middle, and then you can go on to a buy phase. And the buy phase is simply like you can purchase new dice, permanent dice of your color. You can purchase at the beginning of the turn, really, but it doesn't really matter timing-wise, because nothing happens between the buy phase and the start of the game, or start of the round. But you can buy mercenary dice, which will give you just 1 die for that round. You can buy permanent like tokens that you put on your resource slots that generate a resource every turn. So you can buy like a honey pot that will generate honey each turn, or the other 2 as well. There's some other things that's minor, but basically there's also some cards that you can buy that give you special abilities. Other than that, you have these victory cards. They're called like goal cards, basically. So anytime you perform it, you start with 1, you get 2, and you pick 1. Throughout the game, it might say like do an 11 damage or more attack, or a value of 11 or higher against one person, basically, to claim that one. And you'll flip it over once you do it and be like, bam, hell, I got 2 victory point or glory points from that. Or it might be like, use 5 dice in a round to attack with, stuff like that, and you're going to get a new card over and over. And it's going to bring more points in the game. You can also use resources to buy glory points to bring them into the game. And you keep going until somebody gets 7 points. They win the game. Eric, let's start with you. What'd you think?
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I liked it a lot. Artwork was fantastic.
I like the art. It's
It
super
was
cute.
Pretty cute and
Violently cute.
violently cute. Yeah. So there's a little bit of meanness in the game. You know, you are attacking each other. You're taking each other's resources, or most of the time you're taking their glory points. So even though it's a little mean, I didn't think there's like, you kind of expect it. You know.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. We went to the Greenbrier booth, right? And obviously we do a lot of reviews for them. Great people. And I was like, man, maybe I'll check that out. Because I heard some people that I know online that I'm friends with on Facebook, they were playing it and they're like, it's heavy, heavy conflict and all this stuff. I was just like, maybe I'll stay away from that. And then we came back over later and I was going to talk to Julie and, we were just sitting there and we were like, screw it, let's do it. Right. So we started playing it and, Jessica, I believe. Oh man,
Yes.
Jessica. She was showing us, and she was having a lot of fun with it. She did a great job. And then by the time it was done, even halfway through, I was like, "This game's awesome."
Yeah.
I mean, spoiler alert, but there's minor things with it, but for the most part, I thought it was for somebody like me who strays away from these games totally, for it to draw me in that much. I was superbly surprised.
Yeah. It's it's a good time. You got somewhat of an engine you're building, but if people are attacking you, it's not wrecking that. It's not wrecking your big strategy you've been building on. You'd expect you'll get attacked. You can try and defend it against someone coming at you, I guess, if you really anticipate it. So,
Or you have, you can mitigate it somewhat too. If you don't have any resources, or if you locked all your victory points, then really there's no reason for someone to attack you at that point. Also like the aspect of, I always like the dice placement. You roll your dice and you get to place them depending on what you rolled. There is things to mitigate those rolls as well, and then you also can stack.
Speaking of that stuff too, it's really interesting that you get to see what everybody rolls.
Right.
I think that was by far the smartest decision they could have made.
Oh yeah, because you're like, oh, he rolled really low. I might attack him. Or,
yeah, he might know that I'm gonna do that because he's an easy target, and he might stack up all those twos, and now he has like maybe 8 defense. But you got 2 slots for defense, so you can still put other dice there. Like you've got 2 slots, so you could put 2 2s and maybe a 5, and that's a pretty good defense.
Yeah.
And so if I only rolled 1 6 and maybe 3s or less on everything else, he might think that I could attack him, but maybe he'll stack up against defense because everyone wants to steal his 1 victory or a glory point that's unlocked. So it's kind of cool, like a bluffing mechanism to it, I guess, even though you don't really speak that much.
Yeah, I mean, in the same turn, you could sit there and think, oh, he's not going to attack me, or, I guess, and you can just kind of put little pings on people just to take a resource here and there and be like, oh, I didn't think you were going to attack with that 1.
Yeah, right. How about that 1? Get an easy glory point.
Right.
Cause myself to be a target.
Yeah, I also noticed that if you attack too much as well, you're not building your engine. You're not making your tribe better, because when you get these resources, you can turn them in and, like you said, get honey every round, or you get different resources every round. You could put it into your defense. So or gain extra dice. But if you're always on the attack and you don't, maybe you don't win the quick game, then you fell behind.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Right. Yeah. The other thing about the hiding the dice and stuff after you roll and put it on the screen, that is one downfall. I think like the player shield was too small.
Yes.
And then your player board is vertical.
Long.
It's vertical long. And so the player board's short, and then so you can just look. Even if you're sitting at a card table, you can kind of view the person to your left and right and see what they're putting on their resources. And that's a giveaway. If you see a die, you don't even need to know the value. You just know the dice are down there.
Especially if they only have 3.
Yeah, especially when they only have 3, because 1's there, so you know what the other 2, it's like, did they roll doubles? Okay, they can only hit me with 1 die. And you can kind of deduce it pretty much. So it's I wish the player shields were a little longer, and then the boards were turned landscape.
Right.
I think that would have, but I mean, I don't know, production wise, I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying that it would be better if you can hide your stuff better. So we kind of do the elbow trick
Right.
a lot in this game, and it could be annoying if you're trying to relax and play a game.
Right.
Not that this game makes you relax, just saying. And the only other thing about the game I thought was the ore specialist, which is the one that you can buy that gives you ore each round. I said it was stone, but it's ore. The one that you need a 4, 5, or 6 for.
Right.
That's almost a must buy, in my opinion.
It does seem to be more beneficial.
Yeah, and I'm not saying because of what you can spend it on, but simply for the fact that it frees up your 4, 5s, and 6s to defend and attack.
Right.
Right.
And so I don't know, that was kind of, it just seems like the first round it's like bam, bam, bam. Everybody just buys war specialists, and then there's only so many in each game, so you can't hoard up a ton of them. You don't really need a ton of them.
No.
Just at least one, but 2 is glorious. Anyway, what's the other thing I put here? Rarely can you pull the locked 3 glory card and complete it back to back. I wrote that down. I don't remember what it was.
Probably because you kept drawing cards. Or I think you twice in both games got back-to-back things you'd already done.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that's what you were talking about or...
Oh, that's right. It says rare... Oh, I got you. Yeah, that is what I'm talking about. So basically, there's one of the victory cards or goal cards where if you locked 3 glory, you can complete it. And so how does that work if you had them locked and you drew it next? Or maybe later on you drew it and you have 3 locked, you just claim it.
Right.
So realistically, you can lock a glory, claim that card, draw a card, and get the same one because there's 2 copies of each. And then you complete that, and then...
I bet you can complete it until the next round.
Even if you couldn't, I mean, that's like instant points.
Yeah, free points.
Yeah, everything else requires you to do something to get it. That one's just have some preset, just have something. So, I mean, that's minor. Super minor. But anyway, final thoughts, Eric?
No, I liked it a lot.
Yeah, super cute, super good footprint. The hiding thing's kind of minor. It's not that big of a deal.
Right.
And yeah, I'm looking forward to keeping this one around. What about you, Matt?
That was a good time. I like it. I'm not that big on conflict games either, but it's short and it's not detrimental to you when people do take stuff. I mean, maybe you had a plan of buying something this round. They took the one resource that might have kept you from getting it, but you could still get more. It's not like it kills you.
Yeah. Oh, and other thing I forgot to talk about is we played this multiple times, and it's always with 4 people. If you play it with 3, right, you only start the game with, how many glory do you start with? 2? I think you start with 2. So that means there's only 6 glory in the game. People have to buy it or earn more glory to bring it in before anyone can win.
Yeah.
That might actually be pretty cool. I don't know how this is going to be a 2 players, but we don't typically play games 2 players anyway. So we should play it with lower player counts. That's actually the first time we've ever played the game a lot of times with one specific player count. That's kind of interesting. So anyway, super fun game. That's Barbarian Battlegrounds by Greenbrier Games.